If you're still stuck between 3 and 10K per month as an agency owner, let me just tell you, your outreach is not the problem. Your business is. And I know that sounds uncomfortable because I was in the same spot. I've personally sent well over 10,000 DMs over these last 18 months, 2 years, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, even literally everywhere. And here's the truth that nobody really wants to hear. Most agencies don't fail because they don't send enough messages. They fail because they're relying on their growth because of those messages. So today in this video, I'm going to be showing you my exact outreach method that has helped me sign creators, be able to repeat the process and have something that is predictable and not just guesswork, something that I can't track. I wanted to be able to sign creators whenever I needed, make sure that they're A-tier quality. So I'm going to be showing you all of that in this video. And no, it is not only talking head, but I want to get across a few things before we jump into the Miro board and I can walk you through exactly what everything looks like. And so by the end of this, you should know how to outreach without being glued to your phone all fucking day. And this is the exact outreach system that has helped me grow my revenue, stabilize my agency, and make signing creators a repeatable and predictable process, not something that has everybody stressing at the end of the term. So if you are watching this video and you're making money, let's say 3, 5, 10K per month, then this video is directly for you because you're not failing. At the end of the day, you're making money. You're not failing. You're just capped. You're capped because outreach depends on you. Creators are just coming and going. Revenue is up and down. Nothing's predictable. And every single month probably feels like you're starting all over again. So in all of that, you tell yourself, oh, I just need to sign more creators. But deep down, you know that's not the real issue, bro. The real issue is that you built an agency that works, congratulations, but it doesn't scale. So let me show you exactly what outreach fails and why it fails, and then exactly what actually fixes those failures. Okay, so there are 3 reasons why most agencies' outreach DMs just do not convert. The first one is going to be that you sound like everybody else. Listen, boys, it is moving forward into 2026. More agencies are coming up, more people are scaling past numbers. You need to find leverage. If you're still sending the, hey, I run an OFM agency, I took this creator from 0 to 50K a month in 2 months. Do you want to work with me? Bro, delete that shit right now. Creators have thousands of people in their DMs every single day. Every single person that you outreach to, guaranteed there are at least 10 to 100 people right behind you or already ahead of you inside of their DMs. So you have to figure out a way to stick out from all of those people. Remember, boys, you are in an ocean filled with agency owners. So if you don't know how to find leverage, implement tactics, and also add strategy, you're just like everybody else, and you're going to end up like everybody else, forgetting about this business model in 2 to 3 months, making 0 money. Second reason to this is that you pitch before trust even exists. You guys will literally jump straight to the money. Listen, she doesn't trust you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't care about you. All you have to do is figure out what pain she has, position yourself as the fix, and do all of that while not selling. And that may sound contradicting right now, but I'm going to be going into exactly what I mean by that inside of the Miro board here in a little bit. And number 3 is going to be that your profile fails the credibility test. If a creator clicks on your profile, and believe me, they will if you don't already know that, and they see no clarity, no proof, no authority, no results, no profile, you get the point, right? You need to be able to pass the test. And then if you fail that, the conversation is over before it even starts. So before we talk about the actual messages, let's talk about the foundation of what makes good outreach. Okay, so the foundation, most people skip this, and this is a non-negotiable for everybody who's wanting to do outreach. First thing is going to be your Instagram profile, whether that is your personal account, your agency account, which I don't recommend, or a fake model account or a real model creator account. That is your storefront. It's your landing page. It's your ad technically. That needs to be perfect. Before a creator ever even replies, trust me, bro, she's looking at your profile. She's looking at your posts. And if they don't, then she will at some point. Your job, don't worry. Listen, if you don't have the Lamborghinis already, if you don't have the laptop lifestyle already, that's fine. I didn't either when I started. It doesn't need to pass the, oh, I'm a millionaire test. It just needs to pass the credibility filter. You need clear positioning, what you do, where you do it, and how well you do it. You also need some sort of proof that you operate on a real business and you take it seriously. And you also need content that signals stability and not desperation. Like, don't just go pull a bunch of photos from Pinterest that are obviously fake. Just show who you are and show a credible version of that person. Results, highlights, work, lifestyle, it all needs to be there. If your profile sucks and doesn't communicate trust within 3 seconds of somebody clicking on that page, outreach isn't going to save you. The better message, the more leverage, it's not going to save you. Also with this, boys, kind of coupled with this, number 2 is going to be your agency page. If you don't have an agency page, make sure you set one up. I don't recommend outreaching off of an agency page, but being able to add the agency in your bio to show that extra bit of credibility. Bonus points if you can verify that. That's going to up your chances a lot as well. Okay, now right before we get into the Miro board, let's talk about who should you even be DMing. As somebody who is wanting to sign creators, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or expert wanting to scale, what type of creators do I outreach to? How do I get people? How do I make sure I'm reaching out to the right people? Here's exactly that. If you're early or kind of beginner or already stuck, your sweet spot is going to be right in that 5 to 15K followers, posting content consistently, maybe not pulling the most views on reels, but showing a level of effort and dedication to whatever she is doing. And then also look for overly personalized content. So a clear way that I always see with girls that don't have agencies is they post very personalized content. You can tell that that's the model, that's her personality, and that's not an agency having her recreate viral content. In this, you're not really looking for perfection. You're just looking for alignment with who you want to manage. After you find your dream creator, that dream sweet spot, you need to build a list of at least 50 to 100 different creators, whether you're building a list or you're just knowing how your ICP is going to operate, who you're going to see the suggested accounts off of, what types of creators, how you're going to access those creator pages. Just make sure you have a proven and repeatable way to find more of those creators. All right, so now's the fun part. Let's hop onto the Miro board right now and go over the actual outreach system that I use, steps 1 through 3, to show you exactly how I funnel every single girl to a call and close them on that call. All right, so now that we are on the Miro board, this is the outreach system done the right way. So step 1, boys, is obviously the first message. After you have your account set up, the first thing you're going to have to figure out and to add leverage in is going to be that first message that you send. Now, in this, boys, remember, your goal is not to pitch. Let me actually just pull up the arrows really quickly so I can draw this out for you guys. Listen, remember, your goal is never to pitch your agency. Your goal is to funnel to the call, all right? And in that, you're going to need to start a real conversation. So I pulled up some images, and before you say anything, yes, these are old screenshots. These are screenshots that I had from my business partner's account. I don't personally log into the outreach accounts. I have a VA who logs into those. So here are some old DMs, but I will say this message, these messages that are pulling these replies from May of this year, are the exact same outreach messages that I use today, and I still recommend to all of my consultants. So let's talk a little bit about what they are. In your first DM, you need to establish a couple of things. One is authority, another one is your status, and another one is personalized. What that means by the personalized one, I'm sure you got the first two. Personalization means that it doesn't sound like you sent this to anyone but her. It sounds like you just typed it up fully custom only for one creator, and that's what makes creators reply a lot more. That's why if you sound like everybody else, you're not going to get replies. So if you boys want to get yeses, what exactly are the details? As you can see also, when I follow up, it is always a voice note. Always, always, always a voice note. Listen, boys, you can get away with a 1 minute voice message. You cannot get away with 1 minute of words. That's a wall of text. And you can also see, sorry if the video had a weird cut there, I had to blur out this phone number here, but you can see funneling to phone numbers, getting text, making sure that you guys hop on calls is very easy when you understand it. So before we get into some actual conversations and pitches that you guys can use, I want to talk to you guys about funneling to the call. Remember, never pitch your agency in the DMs. Never, okay? In the DMs, that is strictly for finding out why she wants anything to do with you, any sort of interest at all. Second to that, her pain, why she is even reaching out to you or replying you, giving you the time of day. And then from there, you immediately want to funnel to the call. But really quickly, for some first messages, boys, here are two that I like as far as just to prove it basic. No, you cannot get access to the secret sauce message. This message absolutely prints replies, but you do need a full system for this message as far as getting on calls, how to handle it. But here are two messages that are very simple for anybody to use, super easy to come across. I will say, listen, guys, if you copy and paste this message word for word, you might not get many replies. Why? Because everybody else watching this video is probably going to copy it word for word. So add your own spin on it, but keep the purpose behind it. You can see in each one of these DMs, there's purpose. So authority, worked with and at, right? Personalization. Hey, Chloe, quick one for you. If you're open to tightening up a few workflows on your socials, very simple, right? You just don't want to say anything that's not custom. Obviously, you can't just describe her whole page in the first message. That'd be redundant. There'd be no point. But there's tactics to this. Adding the name twice instead of only once creates more personalization. 5 years now creates authority. Just make sure that you guys are also adding these bits and parts to your DMs to make sure that you're keeping with the same ideology that I am as well. So moving on to step 2 is going to build context before you build value. Once she replies in the DMs, slow down. You ask her in a voice message about her goals, what's not working, her frustrations, what her issues are, everything like that. Remember, you're not selling. You're telling her why she needs help, okay? Then from there, you're going on to step 3, which is the transition. No, this is not the transition to pitch. This is the transition to hop on a call. So after a few messages, introduce funnel to call. That makes sense. I work with creators in a similar spot and help them systemize everything so that they're not guessing month to month. Would you be open to a quick 10-minute no pressure call to see if it makes sense? I wouldn't even send this in a DM. I would send this in a voice note, like always, okay? No promises being made, just a logistical next step. Remember, boys, people hate being sold to. So even on the call, just some free sauce to you guys. Like at the end of the call, to emphasize how much I never sell is if I'm on a call with a girl, I'd be like, to be honest, Marissa, I really don't see any reason based off our conversation we've had for the last 15 minutes that something like our systems wouldn't work to help you scale to the XYZ per month that you want to be. Would it be helpful if I walked you through a little bit more about what we do, what we can offer, and some other people that have been in your position and gotten to the point that you want to go? Of course that'd be helpful, Griffin. Thank you. No longer are you selling. You are now just doing exactly what she wanted you to do to be helpful. All right. So understand that very deeply. So to give you guys some free sauce really quickly about this right here, what I would kind of say in a voice note, if I was sending this, obviously there's no context I have, but it would be something along these lines. Hey, Marissa, totally. That makes perfect sense. I think the biggest things that you do have an issue with is really just your content, not even necessarily the quality, but just making sure that we implement a few of our dedicated strategies and our dedicated styles to actually grow your page. I know that all just sounds kind of like fancy words right now, but usually what we do from here is just hop on a quick 10-minute, 20-minute, no pressure call. Super easy. I'm just not somebody who really does business if it doesn't make sense. So I want to make sure that it makes sense in the first place. So whenever I have, 10, 15 minutes of free time, we can set up a call and we can talk about, seeing if something like this makes sense. I left my phone number below this message. So just shoot me a text and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, right? And then send your voice note or send your, phone number right below that message. And that always works. Like, genuinely, boys, this voice note says basically that same shit. And they usually will have an objection. Like if they don't send you a message immediately, obviously on the first voice note, if they reply yes to, let's say, these DMs, then I would funnel into that voice note immediately and send your number. But this is a different DM. We're playing it at a different angle. So we send a voice note, we get confirmation, and then it goes into something, my husband managed my over, whatever. And then getting the number and funneling to the call is going to be your biggest thing. So overall, boys, outreach is pretty easy. Just make sure you have a system. Like you guys can see, we're getting replies from one DM. We're not just guessing. We're not guessing on the DMs. We're making sure that we're predictable and it's repeatable in the long term. But overall, back to the talking head. Okay, now that we walked through the entire outreach system, let's talk about the call. Honestly, boys, if she gets on the call, you've already won half the battle, to be honest. You've now done the hardest part. The call is light work. That shit is so easy. And on this call, remember, your job is not to impress her with all of your fancy solutions. Your job is to diagnose, understand her pain, and then offer yourself as a position, aka a solution. So the call framework that we use, I'm looking at it right here, is rapport, pain, gap, solution. Let's talk about it. In the rapport, let her talk. Ask her about her dog, her cat, her living situation, her favorite club, whatever it is. I don't give a fuck. Make her laugh, make her joke, just build rapport. Second to that is moving into the pain. And a funneling question, a lot of guys do struggle to ask for pain from creators. I guess it can be uncomfortable if you ask directly, what's your biggest issue? It's kind of weird. What we like to ask is if they've ever had any previous experience in agencies, and usually they're going to say yes. Like usually somebody is managed by agencies, and so they describe their previous experience, and whatever they say, whether good, bad. If it's bad, obviously just build off of that. But if it's good, if it's like, oh, it's whatever. I usually ask, hey, Marissa, with that last agency, obviously you guys aren't currently working together. what were like sort of some things that kind of ended that relationship for you that, you didn't like, maybe you did like, just so I can get a little bit more information about kind of who you are, what you do, and what you don't like to have when getting managed. And then from there, she'll tell you all of the things. And then the gap, the third part about this, is only if she doesn't believe she needs management. So this is for the girls that think, oh, I can just add more effort, or I can do it on my own, or I don't want to take 50%. All of that gap is where you want to implement your results. You want to implement what you've done. Or if you're a total beginner, you don't have that many results, a lot of what you can do is going to be based off services. So basically asking, well, let me ask you this, like how often do you usually like kind of miss out on chats, or chats go unread on this, and then just make it sound like a bigger problem, right? Agency, like what's good, what's bad, the analytics. She's just there for the basic part. So what you can do is ask about chatting ratios. She's not going to have that great of one if she's working alone. Tell her that you need to get that up, and she'd be making 10K already. And then if you split that 50-50, boom, she's already making her 5K she was alone. Or you can talk about analytics on Instagram, X, posting consistency, all the things that people just at the end of the day can't do alone. And then the solution, right in between 3 and 4, the solution is going to be how your systems remove that bottleneck that she has. And always, always, always don't go into a pitch. Don't just be like, well, this is what we can do to fix that, this, that. They don't care about that, right? What you have to do is position yourself in a selling position, but without doing it yourself. So what that means and what that looks like I mentioned earlier, to be honest, Marissa, I mean, based off everything we've talked about, I really don't see a reason why something like this wouldn't help you. If you like, I can walk you through a little bit more about what we do, how we can fix that chatting issue you've been having over a while, and maybe even tell you about some other creators who have been in your position and gotten to the place that they want to go working with us. Would that be helpful for you? Simple as that. Just walk through it, and then now you are no longer selling, you're helping. Now, once all of this is working manually, scale it. And don't scale it by spamming, you scale it by systemizing. What that looks like is documenting your process, tracking what DMs work, A/B testing, 50 of these, 50 of those, the process, train VAs on exactly that process that you've documented so it is now automated and running without you. And once you've done all of that, outreach doesn't depend on your mood anymore. It has now officially become entirely predictable and repeatable, like I told you it would at the beginning of this video. But boys, I mean, to be honest, at the end of the day, if you're stuck at, 10K per month, the answer really is never grinding harder, putting more effort in. It's rarely the answer. I mean, if you're working 1 hour a day, sure, pick the horse up, buddy. But overall, it's usually not that. A lot of guys just don't have the right systems. You guys are building an agency that's going to build up, but then at the end of the day, it's bound to collapse because of the foundation that you've made for it. So not only is outreach just one tiny piece of the puzzle, these systems need to be implemented 360 across your agency. And that's exactly what I help agency owners with. I help them remove themselves from the outreach process, get their content flowing effectively and efficiently that actually works and pulls views, and build systems just like the one we kind of went over today across the board inside of your company. And so if you want that full system, the SOPs, training, outreach flows, documenting, chatting funnels, literally everything, click the link in the description. It'll bring you into an entirely free Telegram group. And listen, boys, it's not for beginners in that group. I do host free calls, but overall, inside of the group, inside of my calls, inside of the consulting, it's not for people looking for shortcuts. It's for agency owners who are genuinely ready to build something that is real and scalable. And so if that is you, I'll see you inside, my guy. Other than that, I'll see y'all in the next one, boys. Peace.